Around the World in 80 Days was a dark boat ride that opened at Alton Towers in Staffordshire, England in 1981. The ride was located in what was then known as the Talbot Street section of the park. The ride would be themed around the 1883 Jules Verne novel of the same name. Though in 1993 the ride would be replaced with the attraction we'll be talking about in today's video, Toyland Tours.
But the best is yet to come, and you mustn't tell anyone, especially your parents, because we're off to my favouriteest place in the whole wide world, Toyland!
I'm Hayden, and welcome to the first episode of Amusement Oddities on Media Oddities, where we talk about topics in the amusement industry which are obscure or forgotten. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Just like Around the World in 80 Days, Toyland Tours was a dark boat ride and even used the same ride vehicles and layouts of the former attraction. The ride took guests on a tour of a fun-filled and colorful toy factory. When guests entered the inside queue, they would be greeted by a giant riverboat, with toy soldiers looking over them as they boarded their boat. The ride was split up into segments, which included the Think Tank, where ideas for toys come to life. This portion would feature multiple toys being built and tested, including robots taking statistics, teddy bears being stuffed, and bouncy castles, which actually bounced on trampolines. This segment also featured the ride's unofficial mascot, Helicopter, a hybrid between an elephant and a helicopter. The next segment, Bath Time, would take guests into a bathtub and showcase various bath toys, with special lighting to make it look like guests were underwater. The next and arguably most popular segment of the whole ride, which was a section entirely themed to the popular video game franchise Sonic the Hedgehog. This section featured large, glowing rings, spinning art graphics, and an animatronic of Sonic controlling a giant Sega Mega Drive and a Master System gaming console, along with screens around the room showing gameplay footage of Sonic 3, Sonic Spinball, and Sonic CD. The next segment featured a castle hosting a large party for toys, which featured toy soldiers that welcomed guests into the castle. The next scene features large props of various party foods, presents, and a band full of stuffed animals, hippos dressed as ballerinas, and various other sight gags. The ride ends and guests exit back into what was then known as the Land of Make-Believe section of the park. One of the things the ride is best remembered for is its theme song, which was composed by Graham Smart, an accomplished composer who's created the music for various rides throughout the UK, such as Nemesis, a roller coaster at Alton Towers, and Bubbleworks, a now defunct dark ride at Chessington World of Adventures. The soundtrack for the ride would even be released in CD and sold at the park in the mid-90s. Although the ride was popular throughout its run, it was announced in mid-2005 that the ride would be closed to make way for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which would open the following year. As the name implies, this ride would be themed around the classic Roald Dahl book of the same name.
The new Charlie and the Chocolate Factory ride at Alton Towers.
Toyland Tours was scheduled to close on June 27th, but would close 27 days earlier than expected on June 6th. The ride theming and show building would be swiftly removed and gutted over the following months, being replaced, phased out, and replaced by set pieces and theming for the new Charlie and the Chocolate Factory ride. The new ride would use the same ride system, boats, and layout as Toyland Tours did, though the layout would be shortened. Sadly, though, this ride too would close on November 8th, 2015. Although gone, the ride is still remembered by many guests who rode it and visited the park during its existence, for its theme tune and colorful elaborate set pieces and scenery. During Alton Towers' 2010 Halloween event, Scarefest, the park introduced an all-new scare maze called Carnival of Screams. The key music for the maze would be a distorted and creepy remix of the Toyland Toys theme, along with props and art pieces from the ride being used in the maze, both subtle nods to an attraction which had closed years beforehand. Thank you so much for watching the first episode of Amusement Oddities. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click on the bell icon for notifications on new videos. My name is Hayden, and we hope to see you guys next time.